Hey, everybody, and thanks for joining me on another episode of Straight Jacket White Rabbit. My name's Adam, and as usual, I'll be your host. Today, I want to talk to you guys about human animal hybrids and other chimeras, specifically why people are turning a blind eye to what's going on in the field. It's really weird. So, we've been doing this forever. We've been trying to crossbreed and do interspecies breeding and genetic manipulation and all of these things that are supposedly illegal here in the US, but are done anyways in secret. Not just here, but a lot of other countries around the world are working on these things. Now, back in like the 50s and 60s, the main research looked like it was going to be chimpanzees and humans because of how much of, we'll say, common DNA we both have. We share a lot of our DNA with chimpanzees. It's almost identical. There's only a small percent that isn't right. It doesn't match up correctly. That we have differences. But recently, we've been doing human-animal hybrids of a lot of other things. But one in particular that's got me concerned is they're now doing a lot of testing around the globe. Russia, China, North Korea, a lot of places, the United States included, are doing human rabbit testing, human rabbit hybridization embryos under the guise of it being for stem cell research only. Now, the problem is this lines up with a conspiracy that I had heard, probably honestly from a friend of mine, I don't remember the source, a long time ago when I was just a teenager, about the government is making all of these alpha predator and other strong attributed chimeras and human animal hybrids like the chimpanzee, the gorilla, things of these natures, the wolf. Now, the fact that they've started working with a lot of more timid, skittish animals when they're doing testing for things that are going to be used on the general public, especially vaccines and things of this nature, it got me to kind of thinking about why use a rabbit? Why use one of nature's most timid creatures? And I started looking up research material on the possibility of human rabbit hybridizations, what it could lead to, things like this. And one of the troubling things that I found out is that there are scientists currently working on research of how to imprint behavior, instinctual behavior, onto humans' genetic code. So in other words, how to make you act a certain way. And I'm really nervous about this, considering the fact that we all of a sudden have thrown tons of funding behind this rabbit embryo this rabbit human crossbreed embryo study. Because that to me it really does wave a giant red flag. Are they trying to do something to the general populace? Do they want to make a timid, more subservient general populace through vaccinations and gene editing and manipulation? A lot of people don't realize how far the world has come in the science of genetic makeup and editing and the CRISPR system. And there's just so much that's going on right now that the general public barely sees the surface of. You see like less than 1% of what's actually going on with a lot of these projects, especially projects that have to do with agencies like DARPA. I'm skeptical of most things that come out of DARPA, but I really don't want DARPA manipulating genetics. I really don't want them getting into human-animal hybrid crossovers and chimeras. It worries me to think that not a lot of people, for some reason, are paying attention to this. There was a famous chimp human hybrid that everyone was trying to debate whether this was a regular chimpanzee that just looked odd, or, well, looked and acted odd, or if this was some kind of a human chimpanzee crossover. His name was Oliver. Now, people keep arguing the debate's over. It was a chimp. It wasn't a human. I don't believe that for a minute. This thing had so many human like attributes and characteristics, from the way it moved and walked and mannerisms it used. And then it had an irregular shape to its face, or to its facial features, from other chimps that I have seen personally. There's just a lot of odd things about Oliver. And to this day, there are people who will debate whether or not this was a humanzee. Now, there have also been claims of human wolf. Yes, we're talking straight on werewolf, guys. Human wolf hybridizations. There are legends here in the United States of such creatures. I believe Michigan, Milwaukee, and a few other places have these tales, specifically saying that the locals believe that these creatures were created on government facilities from escaped labs. We know they do stuff like this. You guys, we know they're messing with this stuff. This isn't a maybe. You guys remember my Plum Island video? Okay, look at all the weird stuff that washed up on the shores right near Plum Island. Okay, were these unidentifiable creatures some kind of chimera that we were creating on Plum Island? It's not out of the realm of possibility. Lots of things went on Plum Island, and unless you had clearance, you didn't go on that island. We know they have more sophisticated facilities now than they've ever had in the past for specifically genetic projects, genetic manipulation, gene editing, crossbreeds, all this stuff. I mean, for God's sake, it's been decades since we started growing ears out of mice, you guys. They've got pigs running around on farms with human blood. Human blood, like I'm not joking you. If you looked at it under a microscope, it is human blood. It is absolutely no different than ours. And these are genetically altered pigs. They have human blood in them. I mean, where does the line really get drawn? Where do we say enough is enough? You should not have this technology. You should not be messing with these things. I mean, I have friends who are dumb enough to sit there and go, "Oh, that's so awesome! I can't wait until we can make centaurs and all this stuff." And I mean, all joking aside, yes, it's funny to joke about, but it's not going to be funny when it happens. It's not going to be funny when the hierarchy of the world is based on your genetics, whether you're prey or the predator. And this could be what they're doing. Think about it. First, they get it down with the predators and the more advanced creatures like the chimpanzees and the wolves. Then they start working on timid creatures who share very skittish personality traits. Mice. Then they start doing it with rabbits, and they're doing it with all mannerisms lately of timid creatures. And I wonder why the shift. The huge thing for the longest time, you guys, was apes and chimpanzees and monkeys, some kind of a primate. Why all of a sudden in the last 15, 20 years or so have they been steadily increasing the testing genetically with human DNA and these other timid creatures? I don't believe it's strictly for the practices that they're saying, which is for stem cell research. We have many other ways to do that. Why use a rabbit? And why are they working on all the other timid creatures all of a sudden? You're not hearing about them, trying to crossbreed us with tigers and lions or any of these other, alpha predators. But now you're hearing them talk about, growing parts out of animals and, oh, we're giving pigs human blood so that one day we won't need transfusions. Well, no, we still will, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people like me who are going to go, but I don't want blood out of a pig. I want normal blood. And they'll go, well, it is normal blood. No, it's not. Did it come from something that could be made into a pork sandwich? That's not normal human blood. But they're going to keep progressing this stuff, growing ears out of rodents and stuff. Do you really want an ear that was grown on the back of a mouse attached to your head? I don't want them messing with me on any genetic level. Let me be honest here, okay? I I am aware we are getting closer and closer to the day and age where the movie Gattaca is soon going to be nonfiction. But I am not okay with the government getting involved in our day-to-day genetics as a species. And they are around the world, you guys. They're messing with things. They're crossbreeding things. They have no idea what the results are going to be. But they just want to see. It's the typical scientist thing, Well, why did you do this experiment? Because we could. You were so busy, with whether or not you could, you didn't stop and think if you should. And that's never okay in science. You guys, science is to be done thoroughly, cautiously, and proceeding with, an amount of care for what large scale repercussions your experiments could have. Do you want someone just trying to create a black hole willy nilly just because they think it's interesting and they want to study one? I really don't want them doing that here on Earth. Although a lot of us believe that they already have been trying to do that. They call them micro black holes. I don't really care how big the black hole is. I think trying to recreate that on Earth is just insane. But going back to the whole human animal hybrids, you guys, why do you think that they're all of a sudden switching to these timid, domesticated animals that they're now doing all of this stem cell research on? Um, and like I said, it wasn't a switch for just our country, you guys. They all switched. I believe this is something to do with the powers that run our planet as a whole. The people who run the behind the scenes every day, not your presidents and all of them. There's something going on with this. There's a reason behind it. I don't believe that it is strictly because, oh, well, we're just practicing and testing new theories and, we decided to use this animal because, you know, we've been testing on rabbits for a long time. Well, that doesn't have anything to do with their similarity to human genes. By all standards, chimps are way closer to human DNA than a rabbit is. So it just, like I said, man, you guys, to me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about real quick, you guys, is the difference between skeptics and debunkers, okay? I am really pro-skeptic. I am fine with people being skeptical of things they hear, skeptical of things they read, skeptical of anything your government tells you. But I am not okay with the debunking crowd that has popped up as of late and the professional debunkers out there, some of which are professional debunkers slash just they're misinformation agents. Now, debunkers, let me explain this, you guys. Skepticism means that there's a room for whatever you're investigating or looking into to be true. It doesn't mean that it's not true because you're a skeptic. It means that you're skeptical and you need to be convinced of said subject's reality or validity or whatever. That's healthy. That is perfectly normal, you guys. I do it with all kinds of conspiracies and things I run across whenever I'm doing research and looking into things. It's healthy. Even when I'm doing, you guys, even when I'm doing the ghost hunter thing, you hear a noise, I'm skeptical. I'll go investigate. Maybe it was creaking this, maybe the AC kicked on. Skepticism is amazingly helpful. Being a debunker is not being skeptical. Debunkers are these people who have almost a grudge against the subject, usually. They have it in their minds that they are out simply to prove that whatever the subject matter is false. Not it could be true, just outright it's false and I'm going to prove it. Those type of debunkers, you guys, are not helpful to anybody. They don't. Skeptical people help us, okay, in all our fields, from UFO studies to the cryptids. Skeptical people help our field. Debunkers destroy hard work that we've worked years to come up with, and years of sightings researched, and patterns made and recognized. And debunkers will just go, well, it could be this, so your whole story is out the window. Just because it could be something else doesn't mean it is. And unless you have proof that it is the other thing, then there's still a possibility that what you're looking at is what you're looking at. Debunkers, you guys, I mean, there's a lot of them out there. And like I said, most of them are disinformation agents as well. I firmly believe Neil deGrasse Tyson is one of them. But there have been a few good ones throughout the year. I mean, one of the UFO field's biggest skeptics on, the most important government program studying UFOs ever turned out to be a believer after seeing substantial proof. In his mind, what was substantial proof? That UFOs exist. And you have a lot of people like that in the UFO field, as well as the cryptid field. They're only skeptics, you guys, until they experience these things. Now, I know for a fact that there are people who are skeptical that we are working on human-animal hybrids. Do the research. We live in the modern age. You can Google most of this information. Do some research before you shoot people like me comments in the comment section and things of this nature going, well, that doesn't happen. It does. And just because it's not legal doesn't mean it's not happening. We are keeping, you guys, we are keeping so many people in the dark by promoting these debunkers. And I don't mean you guys or me, obviously. We don't promote these debunkers. But a lot of channels and platforms I'm noticing on different streaming services are wildly promoting these debunkers right now, where they're just kind of going, well, your theory is wrong. Well, why? Well, because it could have been something like this. Okay, well, what makes you say that? Well, because it could be. That's not logic. That's not being skeptical. That's being outright obstinate about a subject. So remember, you guys, even if you don't always agree with what someone's saying, I don't expect you guys to believe everything I'm saying. Take everything I'm saying with your own grain of salt, okay? You either believe what I think or don't believe what I think, or believe the story I'm telling you that have been, popularized and told year after year after year, or believe hauntings that have happened that I report on. You guys, I don't care if anybody believes me. I'm telling you these things to share subjects that I enjoy talking about, and some of which that I deeply believe in. Now, I could talk about things that I don't necessarily believe in, and I do on occasion, but only to slight degrees. Usually there's something about it that I can look at and say, okay, I can understand how this could happen, this could be true. And that's because I look at things with a skeptical lens as well, you guys. But for you guys, I'm not worried about it. For my regular viewers, you guys are all awesome, okay? But I do get emails. I do get lots of comments that I take down that are just, oh well, you believe in space. Yes, I believe in space. I get some people, 99, don't get me wrong, 99.999% of the people I get from my brother's channel are awesome, good vibe tribe. Love you guys. But I've gotten emails from a couple of members from his channel that were upset that I don't believe 100% of what my brother believes. Now, I'm not saying everything, we have tons of stuff we agree on, but I don't believe in everything he believes in. And that's how our dynamic has always worked. We are able to sit down like two logical humans and discuss our differences, our different opinions, our different opinions, our differences too. But we can discuss things without shoving our opinion on them and going, no, it's this way. We don't shove our opinions on each other like that. That's why I enjoy my relationship with my brother as much as I do. That's why we are so good with bouncing ideas off each other and going in different directions with the same topic. Because that ultimately, you guys, is best for the subject matter. Exploring things from multiple angles. If you're only looking at something from one viewpoint, there's no way you have the entire story. You have to be willing to at least listen and actually hear the other side of stories, the other viewpoints that people have. I'm not saying you have to buy into it at all, but you have to be willing to hear them, not just listen and wait to respond with why it's wrong. This is what I do personally, and I really think it's helped me expand my mind, expand my way of thinking, and basically become a better investigator into these things. Um, Seeing more of the pulled back curtain, if you will. Now, like I said, 99.999% of my subscribers and even my viewers, you guys are all amazing, okay? But I do get some things that are less than polite comments because I don't believe what this YouTuber or that YouTuber or my brother or some, some weirdo politician believes. I've gotten emails on all of these things telling me, you're an idiot and you're this and that's fine. If you think I'm an idiot, you're free to think that. We live in a free country, luckily. Thought is free for everybody, as far as I'm concerned, in all of humanity. But don't come off as rude when I haven't been rude to you. Don't come off as disrespectful if I haven't disrespected you. I'm willing to have logical conversations with people. And I'm willing to bring up topics on here. I'm going to be doing lives. I promise. I know I've been saying it, but now that the holiday rush is over, I'm going to work with the software more, get a little more comfortable with it. And I'm going to be rolling out lives very soon, which will make it easier for me to have discussions and open conversations with people who don't necessarily believe what I believe or believe what I believe and have questions about it. Be it, like I said, conspiracy theories, cryptids, horror movies, whatever. I really cannot wait to actually have live conversations with you guys where we can interact on a more regular and like at the same time. It's just not the same through messaging in the live chats with you guys because there's only so much context you can get from the messages. You know what I mean? As opposed to speaking with you in person and being able to answer questions as they come up. I think I'd be better at that. So we're going to definitely go for doing some lives. As far as any other questions you guys have for me, I tell you guys all the time, send me an email. Put it down in chat if you have questions. If I haven't answered it, do it again and I will get to it. Sometimes I don't always get every message on time. It's YouTube. But I love talking to you guys. I love bringing you these types of stories and content. But what I don't want to see is a lot of people who are very upset with me because I'm not this person or that person's content. There are tons of YouTubers. If I'm not to your liking, by all means, go find someone who is, and I wish you well. And I don't mean that sarcastically. I like the things I like. I'm into the things I'm into, and I've researched what I've researched. I haven't done research on everything. I don't talk about everything. I talk about the subjects that I know about or stories that I know about. But like I said, I'm here to just talk about the things I enjoy with some good people, good friends, educate a little bit here and there as I can, and just help people generally understand some of the paranormal out there in our world. Um, like I said, all the rest of my members who are, helping me with my expenses for my channel and stuff. I appreciate all you guys. My subscribers, same thing, I appreciate every single one of you. Every time I get on, I'm amazed. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have 10 more. Or, oh my gosh, I have 12 more. Or I'm like that when I have 2 more, to be honest. I'm like, oh my gosh, it went up by 2 already since yesterday. I get really excited by stuff like this. So I appreciate all my subscribers, all my members. I appreciate all my viewers. But if you do, I've been looking at my analytics, and if you do come on a regular basis to watch my show, why not go ahead and hit the subscribe button? That way you'll get notified of all my newest videos. You can hit the bell notification and make sure that you don't miss out on any topics that you really do want to hear about or enjoy. But for right now, guys, I'm going to go ahead and let that be it. I love each and every one of you guys. I appreciate you guys. Look out for each other. And remember, the government's mixing animals together right now. We may come a day here very shortly where we need to decide, which DNA are you going to have? The predator or the prey? This has been Straight Jacket White Rabbit, you guys. Good night.